Dailyrapupcrew. If you don't know, these are guys based out of New York City. They often delve into certain topics such as relationships, male and female gender dynamics, and how that plays out into the relationships. I find their channel really interesting. And although I don't necessarily always agree with what they have to say, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The one thing that I definitely do appreciate about these guys and about their channel in particular is that they're willing to actually talk to women. I feel as though oftentimes in this YouTube space and in social media in general, it is just so easy to fall into an echo chamber of men are trash, women are this, blah, 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 blah. The one thing that I do admire about this channel is that they actually try their best to delve into these topics and they're actually talking and interacting with one another. So that's why I decided to react to this, because I found this video pretty interesting. A lot of people feel as though today people have really unrealistic standards when it comes to their dating options. For women, it's they have to make a certain amount of money. For guys, it's women have to look a certain way, like baya, and it's just causing a lot of friction and drama between the two sexes. So let's go ahead and delve into this. If you like this video, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure that you follow me on all my socials. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Next topic. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. As a fact. How is a person's worth defined in these times?
Shit.
Let's start by gender. How is a man's worth defined?
I know for me, I know, right? He really alright. Definitely fuckboy professor. For me, I don't know if this is for like all females. I don't really know. I can just say for myself, the blueprint for me, I can go off like my grandfather. That was the closest male for me. And he was older. He comes from a different time.
Right.
So, he was a provider. He was a protector. He worshipped my grandmother. He respected her. It wasn't just about money. He just was an all around, just a great guy. So for me, looking at a guy and his worth, I definitely do use like certain or those characteristics as a guy's worth. A hard worker, the person who could resolve some shit. I love a guy who could come up with a solution to whatever's going on. So yeah, I need you to be a protector, provider,
alpha male.
Yeah, for me, I like an alpha male. I ain't saying an alpha male.
So here, overall, she gives a pretty good example about how she defines a man, what she sees in a man, and overall what she values in a man. And a lot of this comes from the traditional tropes of men being providers and protectors. She laments about how her grandfather ultimately set the example. The one thing that does kind of irritate me a little bit about these spaces and just online in general, when we talk about, defining manhood and stuff like that, is the whole alpha, beta, omega, theta, delta, phi, beta trope that just seems to go around. I mean, the thing about it is human beings are not that cut and dry. There may be certain times where a man exhibits traditional quote unquote alpha male tropes. They may take leadership in certain positions, whether that's their job, whether that's in their household. And there's other times where men just have to take a step back and listen to others and sometimes let others lead. On top of that, you have to accurately define the terms in which we're using to describe these tropes. What constitutes as an alpha male? What constitutes as a beta male? I don't typically buy into these tropes of alpha this, omega this, delta this. My only advice to that is, people, stop making life more complicated than it actually has to be. We don't have to label each and everything black, white, religious, non-religious, alpha, delta. In all, we're just doing ourselves a disservice when we assign these types of tropes to us, and we're more nuanced than that. So I don't know, but overall, I feel as though she gave a great answer as far as, what she sees in a man, what she values in a man, and certain characteristics that I believe most women tend to want to look for.
Understand some shit and also solution. Give me a solution to some shit and be the leader. Because I'm okay. Like, I am not Miss Independent. Like, I'm not that bitch. No, I am okay to stand next to my man or allow him to lead at times. Oh, I'm not that bitch that's like, no, fuck that independent women. I don't need no man. No, I need a nigga. Like, fuck that. No.
They're gonna be in the comments. Yo, look, you want to be a slave to a man?
Nah, but not these. Right, I know,
but aren't you happy you answered that shit by yourself? You just sold that shit.
Yeah, I'm just thank
that was
you.
Beautiful. That was good.
Oh well, thank you. But like I said, we live in a crazy times, and everybody not gonna agree with that. That shit.
So here, I also love the fact that she's she's talking about how she doesn't want to lean into that whole I'm an independent person type of trope. The reality of the situation from my perspective, and this goes for both men and women, is that you can't get through life by yourself. You know, for example, before I met my wife, financially, did I need a woman to take care of me? Did I need her to pay my bills and pay my rent and all this other kind of stuff? No, I didn't. And quite frankly, neither did my wife. She didn't need me, you know, to pay her bills, pay her rent, because she can take care of herself from that aspect. However, we have to understand that as both men and women, we have other needs that need to be met psychologically, spiritually. We yearn for that type of companionship, support. All these other kinds of things are psychological needs that we have. So for both men and women to sit here and lament and play it off as if it's not important, it is, if we're truly being honest with ourselves. My wife's love and support and devotion is not just a want. It's not just a luxury to me, but it's an actual need that has gotten me through a lot of stressful times, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. And I'm pretty sure that I've done the same for her.
I did.
So I think that the first thing that we look for in a woman is loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty, then self-respect. She has to be secure. She gotta be motivated. You know what I'm saying? We want women that not only, you know, want to, you know, follow leadership, but can lead on her at her own times. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We don't want to have to be telling you what to do when we not there. You know what I'm saying? Like you got, or, you know, for yourself, you got to have some type of mind of your own. And I mean, great motherhood, parenting skills. You gotta know how to fucking cook in that kitchen. Y'all be cooking in the fucking microwave, and it's killing me nowadays.
Not the air fryer.
Yeah. So here, I definitely like Drew's response as far as what is it that a lot of men tend to seek in a lot of women. Of course, I think when people say the word loyalty, that's always the first thing that they go to, which, guys, in my honest opinion, loyalty is kind of a baseline. That isn't something that you should actually look for. It's one of those things that should automatically be expected. However, I understand where he's going. Now, personally, when it comes to me, I love somebody that is supportive, you know, that believes in me, because while she's putting all this hope and faith and betting on me that I actually become the best version of myself, I also have to make sure that I'm putting in the necessary work to actually do that. I don't want a woman that supports me blindly, but a woman that sees that I'm putting in the work and actually wants to support and encourage me along the way. And I'm not gonna lie, Drew does have a good point. I love a woman who can cook. But with that being said, fellas, I also enjoy cooking for my wife. I also want to make sure that she has a very nutritious meal to come home to as well. And somebody who dates with intention. Somebody that doesn't throw, you know, our relationship into the leaves and thinks, oh, we might be this in a year. We might do that in a year. Like, no. If you want to settle down, if you want to be married, if you want to be with me, then let's see how everything goes. Let's plan it out. Let's forge it out. Don't rush into anything, but at the same time, make sure that you're dating with intent. Don't ever get caught up in situationships. And if both of you find that you're questioning the status of said relationship, it probably is best to have that conversation. And if nothing comes of it, then it's best that both of you move on. Because the only thing more important in life than money is your time. And I suggest you don't waste.
I'm not
Wait, let me just say this. Like, you know, I find that women that's more sexual and sensual to men, they last longer in their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that you have to.
I feel like you got it. You have like y'all don't hear how she talk and like how she.
But men can pick that. Men can pick up that energy. You know what I mean?
But she has like that. I was sitting here listening to her.
Even her craziness is feminine,
right?
Yeah.
Like I can see it. Like
even when we was on the drive here, like the way she put on her lashes, the way she touched her face, I was watching all her mannerisms, and I'm like, yo, this is like the definition of a feminine girl. Like she's really a girly girl.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's what I was just saying about.
But that's what I'm saying. I want to be. That's why I'm like, I am not Miss Independent. I don't need no nigga. Like,
right.
No.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying
look
about.
How she crossed
So now we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of the conversation, and this is something that I was really looking forward to. So Ace is stating that he wants a woman who is feminine, and if you notice, the sister right there with the bright colored shirt, she stated that. What does that actually mean? And this is where I wanted to analyze. Oftentimes when I see a lot of these relationship channels on both men and the women's side, we delve into these tropes of femininity, masculinity. My main question to the audience is, what is femininity? What is masculinity? How do you actually define it? What are certain tropes? Has the whole notion of femininity evolved over time? Is femininity the same thing that it was back in the 50s, the 1800s, the 1700s? And the same goes for masculinity. Have men always had the same expectations when it comes to embodying their masculinity? This is sometimes where a lot of the confusion comes into play, because we put these notions of women must be feminine, men must be masculine. At the same time, everybody has a different definition of what that actually means. Most times I see that a lot of men in these spaces say women are emotional and it's their radiance, their beauty. And I can understand that to an extent. But what I will also have to say is men have the same range of emotions as their female counterparts. If we're going to say a woman has to be feminine, we first have to accurately define what it means to be feminine, because I understand where my man is actually going, but it doesn't correlate to how you do your eyelashes and how you look with the heavens above just shining on you as you're putting on that lipstick on your top lip. It just isn't that. And also, when it comes to men, we're often taught that we have to be these stoic disciplinarians when it comes to raising our kids and leading a household. But at the same time, men also have the same capabilities of being nurturers, just like the mother does. A lot of these feminine and masculine tropes are based on societal, historical, and environmental factors, ones that as men and women, we both play into. So is femininity really a thing? Is masculinity really a thing? Who gets to define it? Who sets those standards? Is it the community? Is it Eurocentricity? Who sets those standards? Does it change over time? Just because a woman acts aggressive doesn't inherently mean that she's masculine. And just because a man is emotionally vulnerable than most doesn't mean he's feminine. But nonetheless, I understand where these guys are coming from. And I love this conversation so far because, like the lady on the left stated, what does it actually mean? And that's the conversation that we should be having. Let's get back into it.
A man that can lead, it's easier to also be feminine.
Yeah,
a lot of women
submissive.
do want to, a lot of women want to, some women really do want to be feminine and submissive and things of that nature. But unfortunately, sometimes with the world that we live in, some men, they don't have their own, they don't know how to lead. So women have to step up. So we in this day and age that women so used to being independent and having to step up that when they go into these relationships.
That's also a choice. I gotta stop you there.
Yeah, no, I agree. It can be a choice, but sometimes
because y'all meet that nigga, and then y'all so stuck in y'all ways, y'all don't know how to stop that shit.
So femininity is not a switch that you just turn on and off. Like once you develop these traits, it's very hard. That's human nature. It's very hard to unlearn these behaviors. Like, you know what I mean? So I hate when women say that selective femininity, because like I always say, if men were selectively masculine, y'all would not go for that. Like imagine me telling you I could be masculine, but only if you a feminine woman, or only if you could do this, if you could cook and clean, then I could provide my masculinity. Right. That's how it sounds when men hear that. Like, you know what I mean? So just to real quick, I would say.
So in this particular instance, this is where I have to provide a little bit of pushback when it comes to Eli's perspective. Typically, when I look over, this space, there's this whole notion of conditional femininity, in which a woman will only act traditionally feminine if she comes across a man who is of means and who can provide and protect a certain quality of lifestyle. To this, I would say it's a natural instinct that a lot of women tend to have when it comes to dealing with a man who they deem provides a certain level of security, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally. If she feels safe and secure around you, and you make her feel whole, you make her feel as one, naturally, women are going to want to do the things that you as men want to do. She's going to support you. She's going to have your back. And yes, she's going to cook and clean and do all the other things that you like to, because she loves and respects and admires the type of man that you are so much that she's willing to go above and beyond for you. Now, what I find so interesting is that Eli labels it as a proverbial switch that many men can turn on and off when it comes to dealing with the man that they only respect. My pushback on that is, don't we as men do the same exact thing? Say, for example, if primetime Deion Sanders walks in and he starts to coach our high school team. Off riff. We're tight. We look at him. We immediately respect him. because we as men, if there's a guy that we don't respect and we don't mess with and we don't align with, we are going to test him. We're going to push him. We're going to get a certain reaction out of him because, quite frankly, we don't have respect for that person. They have not demonstrated that they embody good characteristics that we would want to be around. So naturally, as men, we test them. It's a normal instinct that a lot of people have. So women, of course, carry that into their relationships. You can't expect a woman to go above and beyond for you and do all this other kind of stuff for you if you yourself as a man do not have your stuff in order. You don't have your career in order. You don't have your mentals right. You don't have all these other things to help this woman feel emotionally, financially, and mentally secure. So I don't necessarily buy into the whole trope of there's selective femininity or it's a proverbial switch that goes on and off. No, it's just a natural protective instinct that a lot of women and men have when it comes to dealing with people that they respect or don't respect.
Now, before we go to the next topic, I would just say, just what Keem and Ju said, piggyback off that, just somebody that provides utility to your life. Like, you know what I mean? Not everybody provides utility. Sometimes they just take from you. They take your resources from you. They take your energy from you. Take your time from you. You don't get nothing in return. Yeah. So if you get somebody who's supportive of you, you know, somebody that's loyal to you, like somebody that, you know, can teach you new things, like, you know, let you grow as a person. I love that. Those people are valuable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like you said, that's kind of, hard. It's kind of hard to find that. Exactly. Like,
so all in all, I think this was a really great conversation. Of course, this is not the full video, but just one of their small clips. But I do appreciate the fact that we're actually trying to challenge these tropes of what it means to actually be masculine and what it means to actually be feminine. And I do love the fact that, like I said, these guys and these girls are interacting with each other, figuring out what do you like, what do you don't like, what are some ways that women can get better, what are some ways that men can get better. And I thoroughly encourage these types of relationships to go on. And again, what I appreciate about these guys so much is you can have proper civil discourse with the opposite sex. Just because you may disagree with somebody, you may disagree with a man or a woman, you can sit down and say, hey, why do you think like that? Why do you feel like that? And the fact that everybody was jovial, everybody was calm, nobody was argumentative, nobody was throwing hands, I didn't see no weaves and nails popping off. Definitely a good conversation. So all in all, I really enjoyed this clip, you guys. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Again, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share the video if you like it. And again, I'll be putting out these videos twice a week. Let me know down in the comments what you guys would want for me to review next and react to next. Other than that, I'll catch y'all on the next one.